Welcome to Meet Me at Brunch. I'm Charlotte Sells, and this episode is about our founding story.
I'm Kip, co-founder and head of e-commerce, marketing and studio here at Brunch.
John Clark. I am the director of wine, which is the butt of many jokes, but currently looking after a lot of different projects, but also the direct business under the Brunch umbrella.
This episode is really special because we just celebrated 5 years here at Brunch. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about our founding story, where we're at today, what we're up to, and where we're going next. But before we get into that, we thought we should pour some wine.
And it's big decanter today, so obviously you know it's a better wine than they normally are.
Well, normally it's wrapped up in foil.
There's a new one.
I've spilt it everywhere.
I'm just going to say this is a medium to full-bodied wine.
Oh,
So we don't know what this wine
Straight
is.
in.
I wore white pants today, so that's good.
so kicking it off, what is it, Kip? You're going to go straight for the guess?
Well, it's widely known that my palate is a bit more refined than John and
That's
Charlotte.
right.
Widely known.
Leaning towards a Cabernet for me. It looks
Quite
Lovely.
purpley.
Ruby red sort of colour, lovely colour. Got a bit of cassis on the nose, do you think, Kip?
I can definitely smell the cassis.
Plum?
It tastes like a Cabernet, but definitely not from the south. Maybe like a Yarra Valley
Yarra
Cabernet.
Valley, that's where I was leaning.
There we go.
right.
Very good.
Tannins.
I think it's in the Cabernet family.
Maybe there's a little bit of Merlot in it.
Let's let it breathe for a while and see how it develops.
So how we started. Well, I wasn't there at the beginning, so I think it's probably best if you two kick off the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
And then I'll chime in
When you turned up?
when I turned up. Popped into the office.
Honestly, I think we should
Well,
start back when we first all worked together.
That's right, when we met. That was a long time ago.
We met at VinoMofo. We all worked there for many years in various roles. And you, Kip, were head of marketing, John, head of buying, and I was head of business developing and head up the direct-to-consumer channel, which was known as VinoDirect at the time. When 2020 COVID hit, was the time that a lot of people were made redundant.
The time of change.
Time of change.
yeah.
And it was an interesting time, but I thought there was a lot of opportunity in that time. And that was backed up by so many wineries contacting me, knowing that I wasn't working at VinoMofo anymore, but asking for help. When COVID hit, it was really an interesting time for a lot of wineries because China had fallen over and then COVID had hit, and that meant cellar doors and restaurants and everything was starting to close up. And that was that realization for a lot of wineries that they really only had direct-to-consumer as the only channel.
Charlotte got on the phone, as she normally does, and I liken it to almost like a Ocean's 11, where she was calling up the ex-cons. She's George Clooney, Brad Pitt, obviously, and called around, myself and a couple other ex-colleagues, and we, formed, at that time, was called Toast, or We Are Toast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't last long.
12 hours.
We forgot to Google if that name was taken, and it was, and we got the cease and desist. So quick name change overnight.
Quick website rebuild.
And Toast went, or We Are Toast, to Brunch. But Brunch is, a perfect name. It's the first drink of the day, and it suits us so much better. So it worked out well. Just going back to the wineries, they were contacting me. They were just reaching out to say, can we get some help? What do we do? And I was like, well, you're going to need a better website. You're going to need email marketing, social media, all of these things. And I was like, I can't do this by myself. But I knew a few of my ex-colleagues when we worked at VinoMofo could. So I called around everyone, and I always wanted to work with Kip anyway. And so I got on the phone and we just worked out what we could possibly do for these 1 or 2 clients that would reach out. But by the end of it, we had probably about half a dozen, I think, to begin with. So then we started to call in more and more people, and that's sort of how the agency became what it was. I always wanted to work with John. John was my boss back at VinoMofo. I remember even Kip saying, what will John do? And I'm like, I don't know, but we will figure it out.
We still don't know.
We still don't know. That's the beauty of it.
You're very connected to the industry and you have a way of bringing in opportunities.
That was a good 2 years into the journey.
At that time, we were working with some beverage companies as well outside of wine.
Sports beer. There was
Sports beer.
Yeah. Got paid in fridges, didn't you?
That was a healthy beer.
Yeah.
We did get paid in a fridge, actually.
Yeah, instead of the invoice, we got a fridge, which Shah gave away.
That was weird. So fast track a couple of years in, and John was able to come and join a Brunch.
Doing some projects, some consulting work with a few different wineries that we'd worked with previously. And then, the conversation came around the VinoDirect purchase. And that happened really, really quickly.
That was the channel that I created, actually. I started it when I was at VinoMofo. Not alone, many people involved, but it was very dear to my heart. And having left VinoMofo, I was almost sad to leave them all. So when the opportunity came up to potentially acquire VinoDirect, we jumped on it. By buying that channel, we bought all of the team to come over as well, and all of the wineries. That's now Brunch Direct. And it was just like a full circle moment for me particularly. And it just made brunch blow up. 60 team members, wineries across Australia, New Zealand and the US.
Absolutely. Bringing it into an independent light and offering that expertise on the other side, which Kip and Charlotte had built up with brunch, had really given it the authority around the direct-to-consumer part of the market. And wineries really enjoy that. They really like that we are their experts in the direct-to-consumer space, not only on the phone side, but through email. And a lot of our clients don't just do one service with us, which is fantastic. They might be a phone client. Satrick of Coonawarra is a great example. We built their website, we do their marketing, and we do their phone campaigns.
It all is planned out beautifully, and I think that's when you get the most out of brunch, when you work with us across a number of areas.
But we've also found that it just gives us scale, I think, and that's the exciting part for a small business when you have that opportunity to work with more and more producers. And I remember being on a basketball court about 6:30 at night, and someone rang me and said, "You might be getting really busy in the next few weeks." And they were just told that Endeavour had basically closed their direct-to-consumer business.
Such a crazy few weeks after.
It was just
It was
wild.
an exciting time.
Yeah, very exciting.
John called me. I was actually picking up Max from, might have been aftercare, and I could just hear this like cackling. And I was like, oh, John's drunk again. But yeah, there's excitement around that. And then in the office for the next week or so,
it was that we were just non-stop on the phones. It wasn't just that we were making those calls. Those calls were coming through.
Absolutely.
Because people were trying to find a home for their campaigns.
Yeah. And not just the wineries, but the staff as well. So we've been so grateful that we've been able to pick up maybe 10, 12 of the ex-Langton staff at Winery Direct. And it was such a big part of our sales pitch to the wineries again, to say, come and do a campaign with us. We've got the staff, we've got the expertise, and we've got the same people that were calling your database for the last 10 years.
Which was actually so nice for the winery, because I think the biggest stress for a winery changing from one company to another was like, are they going to have Alison still call, because Alison's been selling to them for 4 or 5 years, and the answer was yes. I think we did a really good job to make sure when those brokers came in, we assigned all of their previous customers from that winery, and that helped everybody, because that was obviously a great move by us in terms of sales, because you want that same person, but it made the winery feel comfortable, and then it helped the broker or the wine sales specialist hit the ground running.
That was we'd like to say good management, but there was an ounce of luck in that part of it as well.
Definitely.
But and that really did open us up to some great wineries. That opportunity with the Mosswoods and the Tyrrells and the Garenbergs and Cullen and those sort of top tier wineries. It's a really special place for the business. There's probably not many external agencies or businesses that touch that many great producers in Australia.
Or any agencies that work with 150 plus wineries.
Yeah.
I'm really proud. I think it's okay to say this at 5 years. I'm really proud of the business and where we're at, the people we have in this company, the type of wineries we work with, how many wineries we work with. It's a really exciting time.
And I think for our business, it's sort of being in that, not ultra fine wine, some of the campaigns certainly are, but being in that really premium wine part of the market has been really exciting.
It's also great for us because they come through and do tastings with the team, and we get to try all this fabulous wine.
It's a very, very unique position, I think, because, we had Grosset and Mosswood kicking off in the same week, Cullen this week, we've had Oak Ridge a few weeks ago. And I do joke that we drink more Hunter Shiraz in this office than anywhere else in Victoria.
That's very true. We have a lot of Hunter Valley wineries.
That's right. So it's a really interesting one.
So we started with marketing, and then we brought on direct, and then we kicked off with studio, start of last year. And that meant that we were able to take on more project-based work.
More branding work, and that's grown really well. Just opens up more opportunities for our wineries because we're doing the marketing. Probably 6 months ago, we launched the e-commerce arm of the business.
Yeah, that's been really exciting. A lot of wineries are on these purpose-built platforms, and there's been so much change over the years. Those purpose-built platforms worked really well for the wineries' needs pre-pandemic. Post-pandemic, we have consumers that want to buy things within 4 seconds, otherwise they're bored. Every winery recognised that they needed to start updating their platform, and we've always been agnostic. We will build a lot of different websites for wineries. We obviously have our favorites. We're in a really interesting time because wineries need to make this transition soon because it's slowing down their direct-to-consumer online sales. A lot of these wineries who already work with us feel quite comfortable to then work with us in websites because they know the team, they've worked with us before. It's just an easy move.
It's a natural progression because also the marketing does feed into that. If we are doing paid media across all these different clients, like having the site built and optimized for the modern day.
And I think the wine industry always thinks it's particularly special, and it is. Like, there are unique parts to it. And it is good to have a lens of a wine consumer on your website. You know, we've often seen wineries' websites built from non-wine people or people that don't have that same lens across them.
They'll opt for it to be a beautiful image rather than a shop now, which you really do need that when it comes to driving people to your website. And people aren't just going to stumble across your website. You do need to drive them there. So if you're going to drive them there, make it as easy as possible to get what they want. Design agencies won't be thinking necessarily about that end goal like we do.
Yeah.
For wine specifically.
For wine
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah. I think it's worth touching on our global dominance, the future. So New Zealand, we have clients in New Zealand. We have an office in Nelson, KB, who's been on 2 of the podcasts. It is her house, the office, but don't tell anyone.
But it is a winery.
That's right.
It's a winery.
Addie's got a viticultural degree. Kate has a winery and her husband's a winemaker and she's a winemaker in Nelson, New Zealand. Every recommendation we bring to wineries has a real holistic view on it. And then not only New Zealand, but it's worth touching on Chicago or the greater America.
Almost a year and a half
Yeah.
ago, I moved to Chicago, smack bang in the middle of the States. And it's been a really interesting, wild ride, as you can imagine. But what we have experienced is that, or what I've learned, is that there's wineries across the entire country. It's not just California. And that might not be news to a lot of people, but it was news to me. They have wineries in Illinois, believe it or not, and they're actually really great.
Yeah.
The biggest learning was that a lot of the wineries over there are in a similar boat to Australia and need that similar support. They are on those older purpose-built platforms. They do require some more digital marketing.
Yeah.
So we're driving Brunch in with e-commerce at the helm, and we've signed our first US winery earlier this year.
Yeah.
Couple months
Super
ago.
exciting.
Super exciting, and we're sort of halfway through their e-com project and brand redevelopment, and it's looking really good. I'm really excited to show people, and I think it'll be a wonderful case study to show the US wine industry, the before and after as well.
And shout out to Keller Estate.
Yep,
Yeah,
shout out to
absolutely.
Keller Estate.
We're wrapped to be working with them. Really cool people.
Really, really cool people.
And it's a tricky one, the US market, because it's the world's biggest wine market. It is huge. There are, how many producers did we find? Like 20,000?
20-something thousand, yeah.
Everything's always times 10.
Yeah, that's right. So there is just so much opportunity in terms of the direct-to-consumer market, and even the market for Australian wineries in the US. It's just a very unique 3-tiered system in terms of importing unique. Different states are unique.
I've been there for a year and a half and I'm still wrapping my head around
Yeah.
that 3-tiered system. There's been a few opportunities that have also come up in the States. Just a couple of weeks ago, we represented one of our clients, Wine Victoria. They had a US roadshow and they contracted us to jump on board with the team and travel around pouring wines for Wine Victoria, which is something I was really proud to be a part of, and a great way to meet lots of people and hung out with a lot of winemakers.
Yeah.
And it was good fun. So the US is just getting started.
And that's probably worth touching on too. So Brunch doesn't just work with wineries. We worked with Mornington Peninsula, Yarra Valley, Wine Victoria as well. Although the vast majority of our clients are wineries, we look after a whole range of wine adjacent businesses.
That's right. Yeah.
Consult to a couple of auction houses as well over in South Australia. So there's a bit of everything that we do.
But that all
with,
kind of works really
Brunch.
well together. The opportunities come up all the time, whether that be selling wine for wineries into some of these retailers because we have those connections because they're one of our clients. So it all works really well together.
What is the future for Brunch? There's a big one.
I think the opportunities are definitely from my perspective, the US. Opportunities to further build out our team in the US and help wineries over there like we have here in Australia. I think there's an opportunity for a lot more Australian wineries to understand the digital marketing side of things. There's just still quite a lot of wineries that haven't delved into that space before.
Yeah.
And we're also discovering quite a few wineries, prominent wineries, that haven't done phone campaigns before. And we're seeing success in those already from the first one that we've done.
Yeah.
And usually that takes a little bit of time to build up, but they've got engaged databases already, or at least they've kept them engaged in some capacity through probably email marketing mostly.
Yeah, and sell it all.
And sell the door,
interaction.
and of course their club. If they throw in 1 or 2 phone campaigns a year in the mix, it's not taking away from what they're already doing.
No, I think that's a really interesting part to touch on, because we've got a few case studies now of wineries that have done campaigns for and then taken on their email marketing and digital marketing. And it's not moving one customer from one bucket to another. It's just building up the bucket. We're here in Fitzroy. We've got an old shoe factory that we operate out of. We have the team upstairs calling 3 or 4 days a week. And you hear the conversations that they have with customers. It is engagement. It's pure engagement. They're talking about the winery, talking about the families, because the brokers will keep the customer as long as they're with the business. Yeah. So they will continue calling the customer for years in some cases. And they get to know them. And the communication is so engaging. New wineries probably don't anticipate the level of engagement that the broker can have on your behalf, and how positive that can be for the winery.
It's not even just about sales, which obviously is the end goal.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that you just simply engage and remind them about that winery,
Absolutely.
which could cause them to think about a trip to go away there for the weekend, or to respond to one of their emails, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's a touch point that you can't really do as a winery through email or your existing marketing efforts.
I think another really positive aspect of it, talking about like the general challenges of the market now, it's a stronger sales pitch than your EDM or your text message, because you are on the phone with them. The basket size is always stronger on the phones.
Well, if the customer was choosing it themselves, let's say it's online, they're just going to choose what they went there for, whereas they didn't know that they needed to buy wine that day until we called them. And then we guided them on the way, rewarded them with certain things that they might also put into their cart.
Yeah.
And you just can't do that in any other way other than a phone conversation. Phone conversations is an interesting thing, because a lot of people think that the phone had died. Didn't they?
Well, it's funny, once you listen to it and you hear them engaged, they've built up a rapport, and that upsell is almost impossible to get on a website. Like, you can have a one-click upsell, but that upsell in a personal engagement sense it's amazing to see and hear.
Yeah. There was a rumour that the phone had died. But I think if you really think about it, we were talking about the home phone. We weren't talking about the device that lives on a person all the time. I don't even have volume on my phone because it's just always in front of me. I'm going to see it if it calls, you know what I mean? But if I've got it in my phone, this particular winery, and I had a great experience at that winery, and they're calling me and I need wine, I'm going to answer.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
And it's not telemarketing, despite it being phone sales, because more often than not, actually, I would say 99% of the time, we're calling people who have been to the winery.
That ties in nicely to the future, potentially, as we talked about e-commerce, is the ability of that platform to future-proof email marketing, SMS marketing, that have evolved over the last 10 years. There is no doubt that AI-generated or human-invented or whatever comes in the next little while, there'll be something. And for wineries, it will be really key to be able to adapt to that.
And I've got a feeling technology is not going to slow down.
No.
Faster and faster. So be able to shift really quickly and have that ecosystem ready to go to make a change is imperative to future-proof it.
We always take a sales lens to our marketing approach. We are here to help you sell wine. Obviously, we package it up in a beautiful way and bring that level of engagement. But the way the team works is, if it's not selling, that's our real goal for you. So we want to add value to your business as much as we can.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So what's this wine doing for you? Someone drank mine, so I'm just going to top up. I've changed.
Oh, okay.
I've gone way over the other side of the country.
WA, but still the Cabernet family.
Still Cabernet.
Really? I actually think it might have a bit more Merlot than Cabernet. Happy to be wrong, but...
I'm just going to look at Georgie and say, like, Western Australia.
Oh, Georgie knows.
Yes, no, she embarrassed me last time with my selection. We were going very hard for Tasmania for this Pinot, and it's from Tumbarumba in New South Wales. So
Oh, really?
there we go.
Good region.
Yeah.
It's really hard, this game.
I know.
Yeah.
You think you know wine and you know nothing at all.
If the cameras weren't on, I'd be fine. It's just that additional pressure. But I'm going to go 2023 Cabernet from Margaret River. Final answer.
Not bad. I'll stick with you. I think in the Cabernet family, WA.
Really?
Why not?
Switching
Got that milk
sides as
chocolate.
well. I'm going to stay in the Yarra just to be different. I'm going to say it's more Merlot than Cabernet, that it's Merlot Cabernet.
You've also got to think about who set up the wine. Like if it's Bondi or Hugh, they're trying to stitch us up.
Yeah.
So it could be something really strange.
And throw a 2020 vintage on it.
Okay. Over to you, Kip.
Very good.
Well. 2020.
wow.
And do you know what?
Kitty.
I didn't know what the wine was, but I drank that exact bottle last night.
Seriously?
Yeah, with other people.
Well, you definitely should have got it then.
Yeah.
And that ties us into a good cross. Who do we work with? Well, this is a great example, Birch Family Wines and Howard Park. We work with big wineries, Rathbone Group, right through to Blackjack, small 5,000, probably even less size producer. This goes back to what we're saying, what we're proud of. We can offer solutions to the biggest wineries in Australia or to some of the smallest.
To some of the smallest. And I
which is
think it
really
works
great.
really well. There's elements of what we do to some of the biggest where it might be that we run all of their paid media marketing activity and potentially do their phone sales, for example. But then the smaller ones, they might not have a team in-house. So we might be doing their social media, their email marketing, also their phone sales. There's projects we're doing like consulting for a lot of wineries. We've got a really great, strong skill set team. And what we can offer isn't necessarily something that a winery might want all year round. So we could start with consulting, help them and their team get set up.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important component. At the end of the day, all we've ever wanted to do was work in the industry that we love, help the industry sell wine better. And I think we've established a really strong team that can do that for our wineries. If you work with us, if you don't work with us, regardless, we want to provide a whole lot of opportunity for you to learn about what we're doing with wineries. We have a bunch of different free resources that are available on our website. This podcast is designed to be able to share, this one was a bit unique, but it is designed to share learnings, and our Brunch Bites has loads of different resources for you in understanding digital marketing, e-commerce, that sort of thing. So if there is anything that you need or that you haven't found on our site, please just give us a call. We're always happy to chat.
As we said, we're in Australia, New Zealand and the US. So if you're in any of those markets or in another one, why not? I'm happy to go back to South Africa. As Charlotte said, give us a call. We're happy to help and offer some advice.
To us.
To Brunch.
Gosh, happy 5 years.
Happy 5
Indeed.
years. Cabernet.
Not Merlot,
Not bad.
not Yarra.
Weirdly, I stole that exact bottle out of the rack. I drank a bit out of it and then told Em it was a half full sample. She could have a glass too.
I'm Charlotte Sells. I'm director of, wait, what am I? Let's start again. Hi, welcome to Meet Me at, wait, where are we? Meet Me. Okay, wait, stop.
Start again. Start with the top.
Okay, from the top. Hi, welcome to Meet Me at Brunch. I am Charlotte Sells. I'm Director of Sales. This is...
Kip from... I was going to say, like, from Magana. Can we keep my first one? Don't stop creaking your seat.
Sorry, I know.
How's me with the wine?
Yeah, very good. Bloody hell.
Yarra Valley.
I started in Yarra Valley. I reckon it might have
he's
been just
trying
once
to
it
show me
opened up.
Got the vintage.
I'm in the wrong job. Maybe I'm the head of
I
wine.
know, I'm going to get dumped.
Director of Wine Macmillan.
I think I've been away from Australian wine for so long.
Not your $5 Victorian.
Of course it's not fair. Thank you. Add a little footnote.
Not fair.
Not fair. Was that a Kiwi accent? That you...
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome. Okay, you could just cut like a million. You can cut like a William. Oh, William.
All right, John, you go.
What?
Okay, wait.
I think we're done.
Yeah, I think it's not getting better.
Welcome.
And I just said a William time.
William Brunch.
Okay. Hi, what?
I'm done.
Very good.